If you just joined us, it's still journalist Hangout. I still have Asukwa James and Kaidi Ladendi. Now to our third conversation. The recent dispute between MTN and the Kogi state government has come to an end. The Association of Licensed Telecommunications Operators of Nigeria, Alton, announced that the standoff, which led
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review.
There is always more to a story than the scrimmage headline. The part of a story that is not told.
Company of violating operational rules and under-declaring the length of its optic fiber network coverage in the state. Okay, Asuko, it's good to know that the rift between MTN and the Kogi state government, has been solved. But looking at it, when you read this story, give us a backstory of this, what led to it, and to get to that point of shutting down.
Well, the first thing is it's more about operational, issues. The new guy that they have, they had a new DG, who actually looked through the files to see, the telcos that are doing, because he is involved in infrastructure, maintenance, and all that. So we now checked and noticed that the length of the optic fiber that they actually gave to, they gave to MTN, they exceeded it.
Exactly.
And when he looked at it, he actually reached out to MTN, but they couldn't give him a concrete and a credible answer. And not forgetting tax evasion and some other things that they were aligned to it. But it's good that it has been resolved, because telecommunications now in Nigeria is very, very important.
Very vital.
It's more or less like our life. Do you notice that anytime you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is your phone?
Yes, I have someone who fights me.
It was even recently that my Gio was saying that once you wake up in the morning, don't go and pick your phone.
Yeah,
pray first.
Someone fights me on that.
Pray first before you carry your phone.
Exactly.
Then the thing now sung to my heart, and it's true.
Yes.
Because that is the first thing that everybody.
So it controls your mood.
Exactly. Yeah, it does.
It controls everything.
Exactly.
So even during emergencies, is your phone. You want to make money, is your phone. So everything you want to. So just imagine how much would have been lost. So thankfully, that matter has been resolved, because I just imagine if there was an emergency in Kogi at that period, and MTN that is the major telecommunications company there, you know what would have happened? So it's good that this has been resolved, and then we don't expect that telcos will be exceeding. Once they say stay from this length to this length, stay there. If you want an extension, go back, to the agency. Then you begin to write those normal documents, fill the normal document, and then get the extension.
So it's about non-compliance and also accountability. But talk to me. Subscribers are the most hit when things like that. But when you now shut down, describe to me, how this will affect social economic activities.
Like you said, while we were thanking God that this is resolved, I think we need to pick out the lessons so that this is never happening again. It's unfortunate that this is the reality. Data is life. Like one of them mentioned, I don't want to mention the network. And that's to let you know that within that 5 minutes, I remember when we had a shutdown on, I think, all the telecoms companies.
Because of an optic
cable.
We're
almost like there's a coup. It's like Nigeria has been shut down completely. We're searching for, how do I communicate? How do I get in touch with it? That's how important this is. So to a large extent, I think the two of them didn't handle it well, in my view. The fact that, like MTN will boast, back then, I think they've changed it. They say everywhere you go. So they want to do anything to increase their network for everyone to have access. So what you need to do is to make sure that there is a full compliance. I know MTN to be very, very sensitive to ethical issues. So it is unthinkable to know whoever the manager is, whoever is handling that thing, that person needs to be summoned, because it's a brand issue that you are violating the rules of where you operate from. I know how serious MTN can be on that. So if that is true, if the report is true, that somebody, is trying to cut corners, because that's the language it is.
Exactly.
That person should be called. I don't want to judge the person from a distance. You need to explain to the highest authority because you're in the news. So the implication cannot be underestimated. True. It's grave, it is serious. But like the Alton president said, thank God. And that's to let every telecoms companies know that wherever state you are operating from,
you need to,
if you need to cry out, there is overtaxing, there is multiple taxation, let us know. But if it is about the rules that you operate from, you understand, there is no excuse for non-compliance. So I want to believe that the state government should tread with caution, think about the implication, insist on following the rules, then also make sure that you also don't chase away investors.
But Kaide, another thing is shutting down, services for like a week. Don't you think it's like taking it too far?
It's two ways, Benga. I expect subscribers to deal with such network. If they were that careless to take subscribers for granted, there are alternatives. That's the good things about not allowing monopoly.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm still trying to dig deeper, because that was a careless action by MTN. What made you take that decision has to be reviewed. And if at all they have every justification to take that decision, trust me, they have more to lose.
Okay.
Because it doesn't take anybody to quickly go move to another network. Just all you need is get your name and network. And then you
and you may never
used to say
and
you may never come to that
exactly.
network. I'm still trying to dig deeper. Does MTN have any reason to take that decision? I think they have more to lose with that decision. They were not punishing Nigeria.
But do you think this matter could have been resolved without shutting down the service? I mean,
no, I think
do you think it's taking it too far here?
Maybe it could have been resolved without, shutting down. But what if, for instance, the government tried to, reach out and then MTN refused to also attend to them?
Because the story actually looks like that.
Like that.
It looks like that.
Okay, we are calling you to come and explain. But they have refused. And then the next thing, you have to shut down. You understand? So it's something that could have been resolved without all these issues. If for instance, you are supposed to take a party, there's a rule. Follow the rules.
Follow the rule.
It's not so difficult. Just like he said, ethical issues. I'm surprised that MTN will fall into that,
ethical violations,
that trap.
Yes.
Because these are the top brands, big company, multinational companies.
Absolutely.
That take their, rules, to that height. But I want to believe that they have learned their lesson. And others too will also learn their lesson, because you can't just go to any state or anywhere and then violate their laws. All states have their rules. If they say don't exceed, don't exceed. Don't exceed. If you need to extend, go back to the agency, then let them give you the documents, then you sign and then you do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Because, see, they are in serious competition now. True. Because I can tell you for free that in that Kogi, so many people would have moved.
Yes,
to
because
other telecommunications company. So that is a big loss for them.
Absolutely.
No matter how small that they think Kogi State is. But Kogi is like the melting point.
Absolutely.
About 8 to 9 states linked into Kogi alone. So people who are traveling to the north, they have to get to Lokoja.
Exactly, go through Lokoja.
So you know what they lost.
All right, we need to go on this quick break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout.